So the price of silver is pulling back today, but how low can it go before we kick off the next big move higher? Well, in today's video, I'll give you my best silver price forecast, and we will examine why a pullback here is actually a very healthy move, and it gets us ready to kick off the next up leg in this silver bull market. I also have some forecasts to share with you from bullion industry experts who now apparently are saying that silver is going to outperform gold. Now, that might not be very surprising for many of you who are watching, but it's always good to hear it from some experts instead of just some guy on YouTube, right? So let's get to it. Did you know SD Bullion is giving away a monster box of 2024 Tree of Life silver coins? Sign up today at sdbullion.com/sweepstakes. Okay, so if you've been watching the channel for the past couple of days as the price of silver has been breaking out, then you know that I have been wary of this rally. I've been calling for a short-term pullback in the silver price, and that appears to be exactly what we are getting today. At the time I am recording this video, the silver price is down about 3.5%, down to around $33 and change for 1 ounce of silver. But has it hit the bottom? Is this pullback all we're going to get? Well, it's possible, right? I mean, with short-term forecasting, you got to understand it's not about perfect precision. It's about positioning yourself based on probabilities and market indicators. You know, what is more likely to occur next? And despite the fact that silver is down a little over 3% today, I think that we may have a little bit more selling pressure to overcome before we get the price of silver rising once again. Keep in mind that between last Friday and Tuesday of this week, the silver price was up more than 10%. So if that's not overdue for a little bit of a pullback, I don't know what is. Now, if we look at the chart of silver, I suspect that we may see a bit more of a dip down to around the $32.50 level. That is a key level to watch here because the silver price has bumped up against $32.50 on 3 occasions this year, and on each occasion it was soundly rejected from that level of resistance. Now, this past Friday, silver rose over 6% in one session, and it sliced right through that resistance like a hot knife through butter. And now, from a technical standpoint, I would feel a lot better about this rally if we could retest that level that was once resistance and confirm that it has now become support. Of course, you know, could silver drop lower than $32.50? Sure, that's a possibility. Are we guaranteed to touch that level? No. You know, it's crazy when you make these short-term forecasts in this space, how pedantic some people can be in the comments section. Like I say, well, I'm worried because the silver price has risen that we might get a pullback. And, you know, lo and behold, here it is, by the way. But I received so many comments about, well, I thought you were bullish on silver. I thought you said the price of silver was going up. It's like, well, yeah, sure. I still am, by the way. You know, I still think that silver is going up. It's not like I sold all my silver. You can see I've still got my physical metal here in my possession. But just look at the chart of silver. It is a volatile market, right? It tends to have big moves up and big moves down. When you get a big rally in silver, like 10% over 3 trading sessions, you're kind of overdue for a little bit of a sell-off. Now, other people told me that the condition of being overbought it doesn't exist, right? That's not a thing. Well, okay. I mean, we'll have to agree to disagree on that. I think that when you see the price move up in such a rapid way, that you have to expect some profit taking, right? There are holders out there, not of physical metal necessarily, but of silver futures contracts in the paper market who are not, you know, dyed-in-the-wool stackers. They're not holding this stuff for the collapse of the Western financial system or the collapse of the debt market or the downfall of JP Morgan and Bank of America with their silver shorts. No, I mean, what they're doing is they're trying to make a profit buying silver in the form of paper contracts, and then they sell it. So when it moves up, you can expect some profit taking. And I think that that's what we're witnessing today. Also, keep in mind that the dollar today is having a big rally. Now, it's very interesting when you look at the chart of the US dollar. And you'll note that silver's big move up over the past several trading sessions has been occurring against the backdrop of a rising US dollar index. The DXY has been on a real rip higher since the beginning of October. And still, you've seen the precious metals rallying. If silver has so much strength behind it right now that it is rising as the dollar rises, right? These markets are often inversely correlated, but right now we're seeing them rise in tandem. When the dollar begins to break down, you're going to see huge moves in silver. You're going to see huge moves in both precious metals, but I believe that silver is going to outperform gold, as it has been recently. And that is actually what the experts in the bullion industry are telling us as well. This is an article from mining.com, which references the recent LBMA survey, so a survey of bullion market insiders, and their forecast now for 2025 is that gold will be rising to a price of $2,941 per troy ounce, and that silver is going to outperform and rise to a price level of $45 per ounce. Now, that would give you a gold to silver ratio of somewhere around 65, which is significantly lower than where it is at today. Now, I think that this is even a conservative forecast. And if you look at last year's forecast for 2024, these LBMA bullion market experts actually considerably under forecast where the price of the precious metals would be at right now. They're telling us that next year you're going to see gold at $29.41 and silver at $45 an ounce. Then, that might just be the base case, right? We could actually significantly outperform those forecasts. And, I mentioned that when the dollar begins to break down, that is when we are going to see a big move in the precious metals. I think that will likely be the catalyst that will take us to not only new nominal record highs for the precious metals, but possibly even new inflation-adjusted highs. If you take the inflation-adjusted highs for gold, the 1980 high, it's somewhere over $3,000. And then for silver, this is just using the CPI government data, the inflation-adjusted high for silver is somewhere around $200. And so are we going to hit that in 2025? Well, again, I don't know for sure. I don't have a crystal ball. Forecasting is just about what is likely. But if you ask me, when you observe what is occurring around the world geopolitically, global debt levels soaring, I think that those numbers, are certainly within the realm of possibilities. Now let's talk about the dollar and the debt real quick. And this is why I am convinced that at some point here, probably in the relatively near future, we will see a breakdown in the dollar, in the DXY, and that's a value of the dollar relative to other currencies because of the current massive expansion of U.S. government debt. Let's just take a look at the Treasury Department's debt to the penny data here real quick to get an idea of just how quickly this phenomenon is accelerating. If we look at the data from August 30th, so the end of August 30th, 2024, the U.S. national debt outstanding was $35.26 trillion. Now, if we look at the most recent date, which is October 21st, 2024, the number is $35.77 trillion. And what that means is that in less than 2 months, the U.S. national debt has expanded by more than $500 billion, more than $500 billion borrowed in a span of, about 7 weeks. So if you annualize that, what are you looking at? Like a $6 trillion annual deficit? I suspect that this trend, rather than normalizing or slowing down over the coming months and years, this is only going to accelerate. And this is going to have a big impact on the value of the dollar and the perceived safe haven status of the US dollar. And when it becomes clear to investors that ultimately all of this debt can only ever be paid back in devalued fiat currency, you're going to see the bottom fall out of the DXY. And if silver and gold have been rising, silver to the highest level in over a decade and gold to record all-time nominal highs, as the dollar has been increasing, as the DXY has been on the rise, imagine the kind of movements that we are going to see in the silver market when that trend reverses, when the DXY really begins to decline. And that is something that we need to keep an eye on. That, I believe, will be the catalyst for sending gold and silver to new highs. And one of the reasons that I believe silver will really take off when that event occurs, when we begin to see that move in the DXY, is that retail investors may begin to get a clue and get into the precious metals. Thus far, the rapid rise that we've witnessed in the silver spot price, it has nothing to do with retail investors. This is all investors buying paper silver. They're not buying coins and bars. And the way that you know that is just by looking at premiums from online dealers and at your local coin shop. Go to sdbullion.com, go to your local coin shop. They've got plenty of silver in stock. Premiums remain very low on physical metal. I mean, the physical metal market, what you got to understand about physical bullion versus, say, the spot price, which is just paper, is that the market for this stuff, like the availability of 1 ounce rounds or 20 ounce bars or 10 ounce bars or kilo bars or whatever, the small stuff that retail investors buy, is such a small, limited market that whenever retail investors begin to move into it in any significant way, you see supply dry up rapidly. You see premiums explode. I mean, you remember what happened in March of last year when the bank started to fail. Junk silver coins, you couldn't find these anywhere. And if you could, the premiums rose as high as 50 to 60% over the spot price. Silver Eagles, these were selling for, in some cases, double the spot price. You're not seeing anything like that right now. But when those panicked moves do happen, they happen fast. So that's why any pullback that we get here, whether it be to 3250, which is my forecast for where the pullback will go. I mean, maybe it'll go a little lower. Maybe we're done with the pullback. Who knows? It's not financial advice. I'm just giving you my thoughts on things. But any pullbacks that we do get should be viewed, in my opinion, as a buying opportunity specifically for physical metal, because this is going to be the stuff that you want to have when the markets really begin to go crazy with gold and silver. But anyway, leave me a comment down below to let me know what you think. How low do you think this silver pullback will go? Is it going to head lower? Are we ready for the next rally already? I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of that. And thanks for watching, everybody. Stay safe and happy stacking. I will catch you next time. Smart Silver Stacker, out.